If you scroll up again, you'll see there's an appearance tab that we just went over, but also a properties tab. Now, have in mind, we still have the 3D model selected, hence this is everything on the right-hand side here is about the 3D model. There's events that we can add here, but again, something that we'll dive in deeper shortly. Under general, you'll see that you can hide by default the object, meaning the object, and a very important one, a discovery guidance, which by default is set to none. A discovery guidance basically is an arrow in the scene that points to the object that you have selected. So it gives the user hints, or one particular hint. It gives him an understanding like where to look at and where to go. Again, if you're building location-based outdoor experiences, this can be really helpful as a navigational element to always basically not just make the user aware of where to look, but also where to go. And the closer you get to it, the moment you see it for at least 5 seconds, it will disappear, that discovery guidance, if you put it to initial. If you put it to permanent, this arrow will continuously point to the object, no matter for how long you're looking at it or how close you're getting to it. So in short, discovery guidance can be really helpful to direct attention to certain elements in the scene, specifically relevant if you're building location-based outdoor experiences. Now, under audio and haptics, you can attach both an audio as well as an haptics file to it. And this is really powerful because that basically gives you the ability to create multi-sensory experiences that you don't just perceive visually, but that are, again, of multi-sensory nature. So when you set the audio to spatial or ambient, it really helps to create the illusion that this object is actually there. Now, for example, though, if you have a voiceover that's not coming from a certain source, but that you want people to hear, or background music continuously on the same volume, level of volume, then ambient for sure is definitely your better choice. So you can, let's maybe upload a plain sound. That's handy. And you'll see, like, once we preview the scene, that, well, the plane is animated and also does a sound like a plane, and that this is spatialized because it just makes sense that the source of the sound is heavily linked and behaves in space correctly to where the plane is. So if the plane would travel and animate somewhere else, that also the sound would go there. You can adjust the volume, which comes in quite handy if you play with multiple audio options and basically bring in sync ambient audio, background music with narrators and different sound effects. And below here, you can create haptic files to, again, create multisensory experiences, meaning you basically create a haptic pattern that the phone and the tactile and haptics engine in the phone recognizes. And it basically takes the highs and the lows of an audio file, most of the time of like a sound effect, that then give you some haptical sensation and give you the illusion that what you're hearing and seeing, you're also, in a certain sense, you're feeling. Now, if you want to dive deeper into the spatial audio part of things, there is a lot of emission behavior options that you can dive deeper into. What you see down here. Let's fold this again for a better overview and look into gestures. So you can enable a gesture that users can basically drag around, rotate, or resize the objects that you put in the scene. Now, this is in particularly powerful in Vision Pro because it feels very magical if users can just like take something and play with that, and it feels quite natural. But this is really up to you. So by default, you curate your experience and you design it, right, with a certain idea. So it's not really interactive. That being said, if you want certain elements to be interactive, you can always do that by enabling gestures. And when you do so, you can also constrain it to certain axes. For example, if you want to build a slider, or if you want to just like make something that people can pull out and push back in, but like not completely move around. So gestures can be really powerful, specifically when combined with events that we'll look into shortly, where a certain event is triggered when one object comes together with another object, right? And that can trigger whatever you want it to happen next, because that can create like gamified mechanics in your immersive experience. And below that, there's also physics options. So you can give any element in the scene really, physics. And there's differences between static physics options, which basically means the object reacts to other virtual objects that have physics, but itself does not give any impulse or anything. Dynamic, meaning it reacts to other physics elements in the scene, but it's not based on a user input. And kinematic, where the user basically gives a physics impulse. So for now, though, we don't want our plane to fall off the sky, so we don't want to give it physics, because otherwise gravity will pull it down. So let's just put this off.